I've got one that can see.
Hey everybody, this is ODD. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is, I spent the past couple of days tracking down every piece of media that I could that pertains to the moon landing hoax, and we're gonna go over all of it. The bad news is that no matter how obvious it was that they staged the moon landings, and no matter how many times they rub it in our faces in the mainstream media, many people have been bamboozled into believing that landing on the moon 6 times in the span of 3 years is entirely possible. They also think it's reasonable that we haven't even thought of going back in over 45 years. And the fact that NASA has repeatedly admitted that we can't go past low Earth orbit.
This next generation spacecraft will enable America to explore beyond low Earth orbit.
We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go.
The kinds of technologies that we're testing out on space station are definitely helping us with our goals of going beyond low Earth orbit.
Early in the next decade, a set of crewed flights will test and prove the systems required for exploration beyond low Earth orbit.
Isn't the slightest bit worth worrying about. And by the way, this is the reason why my channel slogan is where sci-fi and fantasy merge with reality. A lot of people misunderstand it and they think that I'm trying to discredit myself right away by saying that like what I'm talking about is fantasy and sci-fi, so it's all fake. What it means is they show us tons of truth in movies, TV shows, video games, etc. But they pass it off as complete fiction. And my videos is where that truth finds its way back to the real world. You know, I like to say anyway. A lot of people make good videos about movies and media and whatnot. As a hardcore movie buff, it's my offering to the real truth seekers out there. We're all a little different and we all have our own things to offer. Anyway, let's get started on this list. Got a whole lot of good stuff here. In Diamonds Are Forever, while searching for a villain, James Bond finds himself in an underground area where the moon landings are being staged. The film Top of the Heap includes a fantasy sequence in which the lead character imagines he is an astronaut participating in the hoaxing of a moon landing in a film studio. The movie Capricorn 1 has nothing to do with going to the moon, but in the film, NASA fakes a mission to Mars, which is essentially the same thing, and something that they will be doing in the near future. But since Stanley Kubrick is dead, and James Cameron and Ridley Scott are getting pretty old, they will probably use J.J. Abrams or Michael Bay, something like that, who knows. The Shining, which takes place in the fictional town of Sidewinder, Colorado, doesn't mention or show the faked moon landing, but this list would not be complete without it. The Shining was Stanley Kubrick's way of admitting that he was responsible for filming and directing the moon landing hoax, using techniques from his popular movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. The most notable technique is front screen projection. Watch the documentary called Room 237 for a better understanding. Fun fact, the carpet in The Shining was also used in Sid's house on Toy Story. Not to mention the numerous references to Room 237 in Toy Story 3. One when Woody is using the computer. Another one on a garbage truck. And another on the cameras used in the daycare center. It even says overlook. That's the name of the hotel, Overlook Hotel, room 237. Here's a scene from the 1992 movie Sneakers.
Okay, boss. This LTX-71 concealable mic is part of the same system that NASA used when they faked the Apollo moon landings. Yeah, the astronauts broadcast around the world from a soundstage at Norton Air Force Base in San Bernardino, California. So, work for them. Shouldn't give us too many problems. Thanks.
I'm sure everybody is familiar with this popular line from the movie Coneheads. And take note that it's Dan Aykroyd again, just like the last one, Sneakers.
Good morning, parental units.
Dawn greetings, young one.
What would you like for consumables? Pop-Tarts, chicken embryos, seasoned patties of ground animal flesh?
I'm not really hungry. Just some Tang.
Ah, Tang, the drink the astronauts took to the moon.
Astronauts to the moon.
King of the Hill, Season 2, Episode 12. Dale is the wacky conspiracy theorist of the show, and here he brings up the moon landing, which was obviously fake, but ruins it by comparing it to something completely ridiculous, a common tactic used to discredit something real.
I'm playing God.
Well, maybe we ought to ask God who's going to win the Super Bowl.
Going to win. The game was pre-taped 6 months ago in the same Nevada hangar where they faked the moon landing.
Yeah, man, it's like that dang old Capricorn 1, man. It's a good movie, but you know, they ain't gonna fake no stand on the ground like that they do. They don't Neil Armstrong.
Nice reference to Capricorn 1 by Boomhauer. The TV show News Radio, Season 4, Episode 17, has Jimmy James pretending to fly a hot air balloon around the world, but was filming the whole thing inside of a TV studio. Lisa finds out and calls him out on it.
So did you recover from your mission?
Almost. I still got a little sand in my shorts.
Mr. James, I'm sorry. I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm not going to be able to keep quiet about this.
Oh, come on, Lisa, it's not such a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's not like I was faking the Apollo moon landing or anything. Now that was a big deal.
What?
Nothing, I gotta go.
Here's one from The Late Show with David Letterman, when he had Gillian Anderson come on to do the top 10 list of things your government doesn't want you to know. Number 3 is the one we're looking at here.
Number 4.
The entire Cuban Missile Crisis was staged by Jerry Springer.
Yeah. Number 3.
Due to a navigational error, Neil Armstrong actually landed in Wilmington, Delaware.
In the pilot episode of ITV's sitcom Believe Nothing, an Illuminati think tank type council kills one of their members after stating, "We faked the moon landing, but their caterers can't supply a decent prune Danish."
What is it this time, Councillor Nabish?
Well, I don't want to make waves, but we have got to do something about these caterers. We faked the moon landings, for Christ's sake. Is it too much to expect a decent prune Danish? With my double decaf macchiato. I mean, hello.
Goodbye.
On Friends, Season 9, Episode 8, Joey accidentally misses an important work function and needs to come up with a good lie, so he asks Phoebe.
Hey, everybody! Happy Thanksgiving!
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, Phoebes.
Hey, what's going on, Joe?
I need a good lie.
Oh, okay. How about the whole man walking on the moon thing, you know?
In the video game Grand Theft Auto Vice City, there's a studio set up like a moon landing scene. In Looney Tunes Back in Action, when Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck are in Area 52, they browse at some videotapes, and one of the videotapes says, "Moon landing dress rehearsal." America by Rammstein, official music video. Season 7, Episode 13 of that 70s show, muddying the waters and making the real conspiracy sound terrible while putting it in plain sight.
I think you guys are overreacting. There's no way the government would park a car right outside my house.
Foreman, anything you think the government's not doing, they are doing. The only thing they didn't do is land the man on the moon. No. Spielberg shot the entire thing on a Hollywood movie set. That's why we got the job for Jaws.
Family Guy, Season 4, Episode 4, has this part during a flashback.
We'll turn this place into a karaoke bar. Oh man, that's the best idea since they faked the moon landing.
Okay, cut.
Wow, Neil Armstrong. Hey, wait a minute. You're supposed to be on the moon. I just saw it on TV.
Oh, there's a tape delay and with all solar winds.
And also, on Season 2, Episode 9, when Peter comes clean about not having healing powers.
Stop worshiping me! I'm just a big fake, like the moon landing.
A video game from 2005 called Area 51 has a moon landing set. In the movie RV from 2006 with Robin Williams, there's this scene.
Now what do we do?
Hey, I know. Let's go to the beach and go surfing. Wait a minute, I forgot. We're not in Hawaii. We're where NASA faked the moon landing.
Here's a clip from the Colbert Report from July 27th, 2006.
And here's the Smithsonian Institute's Air and Space Museum, where you can see the original rocks from the soundstage where they faked the moon landing. It's a piece of Hollywood history.
Red Bull commercial from 2006.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Oh boy. Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, jeez. You drank a Red Bull. Red Bull gives you wings.
What should we do?
Well, nothing. Come back to Earth and we'll shoot the whole thing in a studio.
Okay.
Washington Mutual commercial called Parking Garage.
Psst, Bill!
Hey, guys. We've heard murmurings about WAMU credit cards.
Oh, yeah, you get free online access to your credit score, and if it changes, we'll let you know.
William, some information is better kept secret. Otherwise, what's next?
We tell the public who was on the grassy knoll.
What?
Or where the moon landing was staged?
The thing was staged.
Bill, sometimes you're so naive.
Free monthly online credit scores with the WAMU credit card.
Sleep well, Bill.
On National Treasure Part 2, the moon landing is brought into question because the answer as to what really happened is in the President's Book of Secrets, which they have yet to find in the movie.
Chapter 13.
The President's Secret Book?
The President's Secret Book. It happens to be a collection of documents for presidents, by presidents, and for presidents' eyes only. And I'm not just talking about JFK here, guys. The 18.5 missing minutes of the Watergate tapes. Did the Apollo really land on the moon? Did it? Did it?
In the TV show My Name is Earl, Crabman, or Darnell, mentions the moon landing hoax a couple of times. Once on Season 2, Episode 19.
Poor Randy. You can edit film to make people think all kinds of things. Like the moon landing. That was all done with puppets in my uncle's garage.
And again on Season 3, Episode 9.
PBS! Ray, how the hell would I get PBS when I'm pregnant? Oh, it's a channel. Oh, hold on. Okay, I found it. He's listening. Dipstick and Dum Dum wanting the baby to listen to some stupid show about the moon landing.
Alleged moon landing. Keep the receiver covered while I give this baby the opposing point of view. consider this, little man. In the footage, you'll notice shadows from divergent sources.
This baby's already smart, Darnell. He just turned around so you're talking to his butt.
Of course, Crabman is the dumb conspiracy theorist worthy of ridicule. The TV show American Dad, Season 4, Episode 7.
Folks, it's an honor for me to be working in this studio. This is the very soundstage where we faked the moon landing. And the JFK assassination. No, I'm sorry, this is where we planned the JFK assassination.
One of several World of Warcraft commercials featuring Mr. T.
Some suckers think my Night Elf Mohawk is a hoax, like jackalopes or the moon landing. Well, it ain't. So I'm hunting them down with my latest invention, the Mohawk grenade.
In the Futurama movie, Into the Wild Green Yonder, Fry reads Nixon's thoughts, and here's what he says.
The one secret no one ever suspected is that I really did stage the moon landing. On Venus. Aroo!
The TV show Leverage, Season 2, Episode 5.
We totally went to the moon.
Movie sets. I've seen them. They're outside of Albuquerque.
Why would there still be sets there?
Because they're gonna reuse them for the Mars mission. Repaint it all red.
Doctor Who, Season 7, Episode 12, starts off in an amusement park with a moon landing scene.
Well, here we are, Hedgewick's World, the biggest and best amusement park there will ever be. And we've got a golden ticket, eh? Fun.
Fun? The stupid box can't even get us to the right place. This is like a moon base or something.
Well, it's not the moon.
Actually, I think it does look like the moon, only dirtier.
Hey, guys, it's not the moon, okay? It's the Spacey Zoomer ride, or it was.
Season 7, Episode 11 of the show 30 Rock.
This is Studio 6H. You know what's been shot on this stage? TGS, the Joey Montero show, The Lovebirds?
And the moon landing. Right this way.
Season 4, Episode 4, Arrested Development.
Hey, let's go inside the LAM. You want to?
Wow, is this the one that landed on the moon?
On a soundstage.
Oh, right, from Apollo 13.
No, 1969. I'll tell you about it inside the LAM. It's soundproof in there.
The official music video for On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons. It's jam-packed full of Stanley Kubrick and Shining symbolism, along with Freemasonry stuff, and it shows the band performing on the moon landing stage. In the cinematic universe of the movie Interstellar, it's a fact written in the textbooks that the Apollo missions were a hoax.
She always loved the pictures.
It's an old federal textbook. We've replaced them with the corrected versions.
Corrected.
Explaining how the Apollo missions were fake to bankrupt the Soviet Union.
You don't believe we went to the moon?
I believe it was a brilliant piece of propaganda that the Soviets bankrupted themselves, pouring resources into rockets and other useless machines.
In the kids' movie Minions, there's a part of a montage that shows a moon landing being staged. Also, in another scene, we have that floor again from The Shining. And something I find interesting is that the company that makes these movies is called Illumination and never fails to show their one-eyed minion in the intros. Drop the O in and you got Illuminati. The movie Moonwalkers, one of my personal favorites, it takes place in 1969 and has someone pretending to be Stanley Kubrick and then struggling with faking the moon landing. Highly recommended. And here we are. Operation Avalanche just came out the other day. I watched it. It was awesome. In 1967, during the height of the Cold War, 2 young CIA agents go undercover at NASA to investigate a possible Russian mole. In disguise as documentary filmmakers, they tap phones and break into offices while purporting to learn more about the Apollo project. But what they end up uncovering is, you guessed it, the moon landing was staged. I'll leave it at that, but definitely check this one out. As of now, it's the latest in a long line of truth about the moon landing hoax in plain sight. So, did we land on the moon? Well, that's it for this one. The TV shows, movies, video games, and music videos are doing exactly what the Tavistock Institute designed them to do. Muddy the waters, make truth seekers look crazy, all the while putting the truth out in the open for all to see. What can I say? This is what they do. Some of you know what I'm talking about. As for the rest of you, keep doing honest research and you'll see. As always, this has been ODD TV. Thanks for watching.
It begins with a single lie, just one small step away from the truth. But that small step can lead deeper and deeper into a web of deception until the only way out is to face a truth far worse than any lie.
In the 1980s, President Ronald Reagan gave a series of speeches basically saying that people of the Earth would unite if faced by an out-of-this-world alien threat.
I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
At the time, nobody knew exactly what he meant, but they thought that he meant well. It wasn't until the 1990s when George H.W. Bush started to push the New World Order to the public that people began to understand the unity that Ronald Reagan spoke about.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order. It is a big idea, a new world order. Such is a world worthy of our children's future. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. And that's why I wanted to speak to you today about the new world taking shape around us, about the prospects for a new world order now within our reach. I'll be talking in some detail about the possibility of a new world order, the quest for the new world order. New world order. The new world order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
It wasn't exactly the kind of unity that would benefit the masses, but the elite, as they would have us united under the control of a one-world government, a one-world religion, a one-world everything. So we have a solid connection between the New World Order and an alien invasion, especially since George H.W. Bush was vice president to Reagan and his successor. It even goes in order. Alien invasion, New World Order. Alien invasion, New World Order.
If suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
Let's fast forward to more recent events where we are seeing the alien agenda escalate more than ever. 2014, Bill Clinton talks about aliens on Jimmy Kimmel.
Take a quick break, but when we come back, I hope you will indulge me in something, because I want to ask you about your access to the files on the UFOs. Okay? President Clinton is here with us. We'll be right back. President Bill Clinton is here with us. So if I was president, and I won't be, let's be honest, the first thing I would do after putting my hand on that Bible and taking that oath to serve the country is I wouldn't even probably finish the oath. I would run to the White House. I demand to see all the classified files on the UFOs. Because I want to know. I'd want to know what has been going on. Did you do that?
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, we had, I think it was at the beginning of my second term, we had the anniversary of Roswell.
You waited that long?
I did.
Wow. Well,
I didn't. And then there's also Area 51. You remember there was a great sci-fi movie where there was an alien kept deep under the ground in Area 51? Well, first I had people go look at the records on Area 51 to make sure there was no alien down there. And people thought that because everybody who works there has to stop about an hour away and put on special clothing and then drive in and out. And that's because a lot of our stealth technology is made there. We know that now, but there are no aliens there. So then when the Roswell thing came up, I knew we'd get, gazillions of letters. So I had all the Roswell papers reviewed, everything. So I think, look, what do we know? We know now we live in an ever-expanding universe. We know that there are billions of stars and planets literally out there, and the universe is getting bigger. We know from our fancy telescopes that just in the last 2 years, more than 20 planets have been identified outside our solar system that seem to be far enough away from their suns and dense enough that they might be able to support some form of life. So it makes it increasingly less likely that they might be able to support some form of life. So it makes it increasingly less likely that we're alone.
Oh, you're trying to give me a hint that there are aliens.
No, I'm trying to tell you I don't know.
Oh, you're trying to give me a hint that there are aliens.
No, I'm trying to tell you I don't know.
Oh.
But if we were visited someday, I wouldn't be surprised. I just hope that it's not like Independence Day.
Yeah, right.
That it's a conflict.
Well, now we have friendly
Maybe the only way to unite this incredibly divided world of ours. They're out there. We better think of how all the differences among people on Earth would seem small if we felt threatened by a space invader. That's the whole theory of independence.
You're right.
Everybody gets together and makes nice and,
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat.
2015, Barack Obama talks about aliens on Jimmy Kimmel.
This is something I feel like, if I was the president, and it's unlikely that that is ever going to happen.
You never know.
If I was the president...
It was unlikely that I was going to be president.
The moment I was inaugurated, my hand would just, it'd still be hot from touching the Bible, and I would immediately race to wherever they have the files about Area 51 and the UFOs, and I go through everything to find out what happened.
Right.
Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president. Because that's the first thing that you would do. The aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. They exercise strict control over us.
Now, there are a lot of people that are going to examine your facial expressions here, every twitch, everything, and say, and of course, so did you look? Did you see? Did you explore?
I can't reveal anything.
Oh, really? Because President Clinton said he did go right in, and he did check, and there was nothing.
Well, that's what we're instructed to say.
All right.
2016, Hillary Clinton talks about aliens on Jimmy Kimmel.
When we had your husband, President Clinton, on this show, he said, I asked him about UFOs in Area 51 and if he looked in, because if I was president, that's the first thing I do. I go right into those files and see what was going on.
Right.
And he said that he did do that.
Yes.
And that he didn't find anything.
Well, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, why not?
Right? And you know, there's a new name. It's unexplained aerial phenomenon.
Unexplained aerial phenomenon,
Yep,
really?
Yep, UAP. That's the latest nomenclature.
I like the old one. I like UFO. I don't know why.
Well, I think we can use them interchangeably, but I would like us to go into those files and hopefully make as much of that public as possible. If there's nothing there, let's tell people there's nothing there.
What if there is something there?
Well, if there is something there, unless it's a threat to national security, I think we ought to share it with the public.
Well, what if everybody's all hopped up on medical marijuana and everybody gets paranoid? I would love it.
That's why I want more research.
If you share it with me, I'll decide what is the best course of action. I really have my ear to the ground.
Well, I'm more than happy to do that.
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda.
So you see, what used to pass for a tinfoil hat theory is now being pushed by the mainstream and accepted on a wide scale. In fact, the popular theoretical physicist Michio Kaku seems to be a pawn for programming the masses with the belief in aliens.
A crisis of leadership. We've been talking about this all week. But what if there was some sort of outer space crisis? An alien invasion sounds crazy, perhaps. But then who thought we'd ever see the stock market swing 5% a day all week long? So maybe it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. If aliens invaded, who would step up to lead us in that fight, and could we even win? That's just one of the questions the Discovery Channel's new series, Curiosity, looks at. Joining me now is physics professor Michio Kaku, who is a consultant for the series. Professor, welcome. The biggest question before we get any invasion is, do aliens even exist, and how would we know?
Well, the Kepler satellite currently orbiting in outer space has identified about 50 planets that seem very much Earth-like. In fact, every week we discover another Jupiter-sized planet in outer space. Now, to be sure, most of them probably have no more than microbial life, just germs. But a few of them may have intelligent life, perhaps even more advanced than what we have on Earth.
Now, so how does this actually work? When Discovery decided they were going to do a show on alien invasions, your phone rings because you're on the sort of speed dial for theoretical physicists who can help them do the war game for how this might play out?
Well, believe it or not, we physicists have actually studied the question of what happens if we do encounter a hostile advanced civilization in space. Open your mind to the possibility that one day we will make contact with an intelligent civilization in outer space that could be thousands, millions of years ahead of us in technology. The Kepler satellite has identified 2,000 planets orbiting other star systems. So tonight, when you look at the night sky, realize that somebody could be looking back at you. Now, if there is a life form out there, they could be literally millions of years ahead of us. The universe is 13.7 billion years old, so a million years is nothing compared to the age of the universe. I mean, we have nothing to offer them.
Are we going to get answers in our lifetime about this?
Well, next we're going to focus our radio telescopes to see whether we can eavesdrop on their I Love Lucy. Maybe they too have, Leave It to Beaver and TV shows like that. So we're going to focus our radio efforts now on this star to see whether there's any regular radio emissions from that planet.
Oh, it's so exciting. Michio, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
The big question of, do you think there's intelligent life elsewhere out there? Do you think there is? And if there is, do you think it's visited us before?
Well, the big question is there intelligent life on the Earth? And I think not, by looking at the presidential debates. However, we have to look at the fact that just this week, NASA released the fact that 1,200 planets were discovered by the Kepler satellite just this past week.
We always learned in school that there were 9 planets if you wanted to include Pluto.
Yes, if you did or if you didn't want to. But with all the newfangled telescopes out there and in space, the discoveries seem to keep coming. So Linda Schmidt tells us about NASA's biggest haul yet.
NASA's Kepler Space Telescope has made a groundbreaking discovery: 1,284 new planets. This NASA animation shows that it is the single largest collection of planets that have ever been found.
I think it's really exciting to find that when you look up in the stars, at the stars at night, many of those stars have planets just like our solar system. And now we know that for sure.
And so we now know that perhaps there are 1 billion Earth-like planets in our backyard, the Milky Way galaxy. Go out tonight and have an existential shock, looking at the night sky, realizing that there are probably 1 billion planets that are Earth-like.
I think I only had to memorize 8 of them in school. I think I got off easy.
Right. And to think that we're the only game in town, I think, is kind of presumptuous.
But that question, though, the idea that there is intelligent life and it's been here, do you think we've been visited by extraterrestrial intelligent life?
First of all, I think they're out there, okay?
To kind of catapult the propaganda.
Whenever a mainstream scientist says anything about anything, there are millions upon millions of people willing to form their belief system around the statements of that scientist. So here we are in 2016, and when you look at any online poll as to whether aliens exist or not, the belief in aliens always wins by more than half. So we have passed the tipping point for critical mass, which perfectly sets the stage for a Project Bluebeam fake alien invasion. Even though what we call outer space is not what we think it is, and we have never been to the moon or past low Earth orbit for that matter, NASA admits this on numerous occasions while you're not even paying attention.
NASA's next spacecraft, already being built and tested across America, will do those things and more.
This is the spacecraft that's going to take humans to explore the solar system. It's the next big step for NASA in exploration.
Called the Orion Multipurpose Crew Vehicle, or MPCV, this next-generation spacecraft will enable America to explore beyond low Earth orbit.
As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
So this leads me to flat Earth, and why, if we knew the Earth is flat and enclosed by an impenetrable barrier, Project Bluebeam would not work. If we all understood the truth about where we live, most likely the belief in aliens would be very rare. But since they lie to us and would have us believe that there are billions of galaxies and billions of other planets, the belief in intelligent extraterrestrial life becomes the norm. Not only that though, outer space and alien programming have been underway for quite some time. From a trip to the moon in 1901 to 10 Cloverfield Lane in 2016. The Tavistock Institute and Hollywood have been hard at work trying to introduce the masses to new ideas and manufacture our opinions. They've done a great job. We went from knowing that aliens don't exist to believing in aliens 100% without a shred of evidence. UFOs, on the other hand, are very real, unidentified flying objects. But all it is suppressed top-secret government and military technology. They will utilize these top-secret crafts to trick us into believing in an alien threat. They will also use holographic projections and something like the silent subliminal presentation system that can beam voices into our heads, which has already been patented for years now. Look it up. While you're at it, look at hologram technology that's already been used to show Michael Jackson on stage and even Tupac performing as well. One last note, pay attention to the timing of alien programming. For instance, Hillary, our next president, talking about aliens on talk shows and promising to disclose classified information about extraterrestrials when in office, and the release of Independence Day 2. The timing of these things says a lot in itself. This has been ODD TV. Thanks for watching. Check out my video on my vlog channel about Project Bluebeam for further insight.
Well, the big question is there intelligent life on the Earth?
Yes, science!
Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope all is well with you and yours. I'm here today to try and convince some of you that Neil deGrasse Tyson is nothing more than an actor with the kind of connections that throw up red flags. Some of you are already aware that he is a puppet. Let me strengthen your argument and help those that don't understand. If you go to the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database website, you see that he is listed as an actor. Many of you will say, well, he's a public figure that makes cameos. Nothing strange about it. And I get it. No more than a year and a half earlier, I would honestly say the same thing. Not only that, but a year and a half ago, I was a science buff, as well as a movie buff, a conspiracy buff. I was buffing it up. Let me show you something. I bought a 4 terabyte external hard drive a few years back, and I used to collect science shows and things like that. Inside this hard drive, I have a folder called Education. Get that, Education. It's 818 gigabytes worth of indoctrination. I mean, I have a lot of material in here that's not about space, but I'm still left with tons of space stuff. I even have the Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I had no idea about the flat Earth at this time, and I was eating up all this science stuff. I used to always think I was helping myself to become intelligent by watching these videos. I was dedicated. There's a science show by BBC called Horizon. I have hundreds of them. I have almost every IMAX educational exclusive ever made. All the space ones are here. This kind of stuff is all I cared about for the longest time. Let's see. Wonders of the Solar System. Journey to the Edge of the Universe. Look, how the universe works. I have all 3 seasons of this show, and guess what? It's all animated. Never any authentic footage. That's one thing I never used to think about, how all space education is animated about 100% of the time. Okay, the point is I was a genuine science junkie, and I feel like I was more into science than people that refuse to budge and face the fact that the mainstream science is lying to us. The mainstream science community. Back to Neil deGrasse Tyson, a man that I used to respect. He is just an actor. It's not just a side job. Let's look at some of his acting. Here he is on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I know astronomy can seem a little daunting and scientific, but I have a friend who I think can make it pretty interesting.
Who this?
Hi, Gene. I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson,
And I care why?
director of the Hayden Planetarium, one of the world's leading astrophysicists, and he's doing me a huge favor.
And how do you know Terrence, Space Ty?
We're gym buddies.
Damn, Neil deGrasse Tyson! How are you doing that?
Physics, Terry. It's physics. Gina, look, give me 2 hours. You'll not only pass your exam, you'll gain a deeper appreciation of the universe through which we journey on this spaceship Earth.
No big deal, right? Here he is featuring on Family Guy.
Oh, come on, what the hell?
Bummer. He's never gonna get to hit that.
I know. That's exactly what I wished for. Well, I actually wished for it 30,000 years ago.
It's true. Even at the speed of light, mean-spirited thoughts from the stars can take thousands or even millions of years to reach the Earth. Hamburger.
If any of you have ever researched Family Guy, then you know that some people who create the show throw a lot of predictive programming in there, you know?
I can't believe that came out of Bruce Jenner's vagina.
Bruce Jenner is a man.
No, Brian. That's what the press would have you believe, but he's not. Bruce Jenner is a woman. An elegant, beautiful Dutch woman.
Maybe it's Seth MacFarlane, which, by the way, is good friends with Neil. They do a lot of stuff together, and Seth played a large role in bringing the Cosmos series back, hosted by Neil, of course. So there's that. But it's just a cameo, right? Here he is in The Big Bang Theory.
Have you seen Howard? I think he's eating lunch. Sheldon, I want you to meet Neil deGrasse Tyson from the Hayden Planetarium in New York.
I'm quite familiar with Dr. Tyson. He's responsible for the demotion of Pluto from planetary status. I liked Pluto. Ergo, I do not like you.
But I actually didn't demote Pluto. That was a vote of the International Astronomical Union.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Think about that, Dr. Tyson.
That the guy you were telling me about?
Oh, yeah.
No big deal. Here he is in the TV show Stargate.
You were dead.
Oh, and this would be your sister?
No, Neil, you know, she's not my sister. This is Jennifer Keller, it's Bill Nye, and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
You know, from television.
Yeah, of course. Very nice to meet you.
No, the pleasure's mine.
And she's taken, Neil.
No, I didn't mean it that way. No.
See, Neil likes to steal things from me, things like women and theoretical physics ideas.
Yeah, but who hasn't stolen an idea from the great Rodney McKay?
Oh, so we admit it now.
See, back in the day, whenever any one of these people came up with a new idea or published a new paper, Dr. McKay here would swear that he was already working on something very similar, just hadn't gotten around to publishing it yet.
He'd say things like, I was about to say that very same thing, or I was just about to have that same idea.
Hey, at least I didn't declassify Pluto from planet status. Way to make all the little kids cry, Neil. That make you feel like a big man?
See, thanks to Dr. Tyson, Pluto is now the first of the Plutoids, a new class of celestial object. It's cool. Come on, Rodney, it's the 21st century.
Well, it has been great running into you guys. We should maybe get our seats.
Bye.
They can't possibly be dating.
I know. Well, Neil, you're married, so dibs.
She's all yours.
No big deal, just a show for hardcore space programming. Now check this out. Neil deGrasse Tyson was on a kids show called Gravity Falls. This show is so heavy on the Illuminati symbolism, it's ridiculous.
Imagine living in the second dimension. Flat minds in a flat world with flat dreams.
just a couple of examples. I plan on digging into this in the future, but I don't know if I'll make a video or not. I do have some things to say about Gravity Falls. Anyway, here's Neil's part.
Haha! I feel smarter already. The digits of pi are 3.1...
415926, etc.
What? Who said that? Mabel?
Dipper, look!
Greetings, friends. It is I, Waddles the pig.
What? Waddles, what happened to you? Have you been possessed by the spirit of a nerd?
I understand my transformation may be vexing, but I have prepared a presentation. Forgive me, my pig arms are cute and useless.
The brain goop! You ate it and built all this, didn't you?
This isn't right! The pig goes oink! The pig goes oink!
Now, the pig goes wherever he can shine the light of knowledge into the darkness of ignorance.
Whoa! What the hecahedron? How did you do that?
I can teach you, Dipper. I can teach you many things. From the secrets of astrophysics to the... Hey!
This is your greatest invention yet! It could solve every problem of mankind!
And bring me many potatoes. Delicious potatoes. Yummy, yummy for my fat little pig tummy.
What the heck is going on here?
Mabel, you are just in time to behold our greatest achievement, the Smarticle Accelerator.
Solving that brain puzzle was just the tip of the iceberg. With this, Waddles will be able to solve all the greatest puzzles of the universe.
The origin of life, the meaning of existence, why dudes have nipples.
He plays the swine. Merriam-Webster's first definition of swine is a very bad person. Just throwing that out there. Let's move on. Zoolander 2. Heavy on the MK Ultra symbolism and Illuminati symbolism. During a scene with Hansel having a who am I moment, guess who shows up? It's more than just Neil. Check it out.
Who am I? Who am I? Eric? Hey, Hansel. Are you trying to figure out who you are also? Yep. Who am I? Hey, Katie. Yeah, it's like, when will we find out who we really are?
I know, right?
Who am I?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Even you don't know who you are?
In an ever-expanding universe, slowly pulling itself apart into nothingness? What use does the question, who am I, even have?
Neil, I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
That's what I do. I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
The hell was that?
Interesting that Katy Perry showed up. This artist is the epitome of an Illuminati puppet. She doesn't know much, but the people controlling her do.
There's a lot of symbolism. You gotta just kind of catch it. We're trying to put a lot of subliminal things in there, too.
Oh yeah, and this reminds me, on the Illuminati Kids cartoon, Gravity Falls, Mabel wears this shirt with a star that has a rainbow trail. It's like a falling star. And here's Katy Perry at the Super Bowl using the same symbol. I don't know much about this symbol, but I'm certain it's a falling star, and it has a very deep spiritual meaning, occult meaning. Moving on, let's look at Neil deGrasse Tyson in Batman vs. Superman. This is the reason I'm making this video. I took my oldest son to see it, and there he was, reinforcing the falsehoods of mainstream science. He's acting in big Hollywood productions more and more. He's soon to be in the new Ice Age movie where they take on space somehow. Obviously, he's already doing the voiceover for the preview.
Since the beginning of time, we have wondered how the universe came to be. A gloriously orchestrated plan? Or something much, much dumber?
But in the movie, he's set to play a character called, get this, Neil DeBuck Weasel. Are you kidding me? Neil DeBuck Weasel? More food for thought. Merriam-Webster's second definition of weasel. He even has on his Jesuit sun worshipping vest, you know? Come on, it's so obvious now, especially all this space programming for kids. More and more people are starting to be able to see right through this. Are you gonna be able to do it?
The Earth looks flat because, one, you're not far enough away at your size. Two, your size isn't large enough relative to Earth to notice any curvature at all. There's a growing anti-intellectual strain in this country. It may be the beginning of the end of our informed democracy. And if you want to think the world is flat, go right ahead. But if you think the world is flat and you have influence over others, as would successful rappers or even presidential candidates, then being wrong becomes being harmful to the health, the wealth, and the security of our citizenry. The Earth isn't flat. And by the way, this is called gravity. I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch. You know, from television.
Let's go to the audience for our first question.
Hey, Daniel.
How are you, buddy?
How do you feel about increasing funding for the space program?
For starters, I don't believe space exists. You're not gonna attach a camcorder to a Roomba, stick it in the desert, and tell me it's Mars.